Hi and welcome to Code with Stein. This is part 1 of building a time tracking SaaS using Django and vue.js. If you haven't already seen the pre-release video, I suggest that you do it now. There I will show you what we're going to build and similar. I will add a link in the description and up in the corner. In this part I'm going to install everything we need. I'm also going to set up the project and similar. I will create a simple app and then I will add the front page, privacy policy and similar. I'll also set up the front page and a base template we can extend for the other sub pages. So I can begin with setting up the virtual environment. So then I can open up iTerm, or you can just open up your regular terminal. And then I go into my folder, Documents, Minutos, and here I want to create it. And I create this by running virtual env Minutos, which is the name of the project, and then the Python version that I'm running on my Mac, which is 3.6.4. I always recommend using a virtual environment because it makes it much easier to deploy and maintain the project afterwards. So now it's created and we can go into it and activate it. cd Minutos and source bin activate. You can tell that it's activated by this prefix here, which is the project name in front of this. So now all installations we do using pip will just be installed inside this environment. First I can install Django because that's the only thing we need for now. Pip install Django. This will install the latest stable version of Django, which currently is 3.1.3, and also some dependencies that Django has that it needs to run. And when that's installed, we can create the Django project, Django-admin start project Minutos, and hit enter. So now we have a new folder here, which is the name and the whole Django project, cd Minutos. So now we're inside the project. I can open this in Visual Studio Code, so I have it there. There I have it. So the manage.py file is a script for running administrative tasks like initializing the database, updating the database and similar. You can also start Django apps and a lot of other cool things. Inside Minutos, which is a folder inside the root, you have the ASGI and WSGI, which are entry points for the web server. You have settings.py, which is global settings for the whole application. And you have urls.py, which is kind of a table of contents for the whole app, or no, the whole project. So you don't have to think about this too much yet. I will come back to them, and when I start adding content to them, they will start making more sense. So I can just go to the to-do list now and just set a few of these to done. So we have installed Django and created an empty project. Next is to initialize the database and creating a super user who can access the Django admin interface. So if I go back to terminal, I can initialize the database by saying python manage.py make migrations. This will initialize it, and then I can run the migration by saying python manage.py migrate, and that's done. So now I have a new file here, db.sqlite3 or SQLite3, depending on how you pronounce it. I will upgrade to PostgreSQL when we deploy this project later. Okay, then I can create the super user by saying python manage.py create super user in one word, then the username admin, and then the email admin@minutos.com, and then my password, like that. Okay, so now everything there is done, and then we can try to run the server just to see that everything is working. Python manage.py run server. Django comes with a built-in development server. You can't use this in production, but it's very nice to have when you do the development. So if I just copy the address down here, open the browser and go to it, The install worked successfully. Perfect. If I try to go to the same address but /admin, we will be presented with the sign-in page. Here I can log in with the user I just created. There's not much to see here yet, but at least it's working. If I try to go to users, you'll see the user I created. Here I can add first name, last name, and a little bit permission things and similar. Okay, so this can just be like this for now. So I can go back here, set this to done, and I can set this to done and save. Next I want to create the Django app for the views, for the front page, privacy policy and similar. These don't fit under other Django apps, so I want to separate just for this one. App is just a collection of views, templates, database models and similar. So if I just stop the web server, create a new folder called apps, because I want all of the Django apps to be located under this, because this gives a very clean structure. And then mkdir apps/core, which is the name of the app. Then we need to actually create the Django app by saying python manage.py start app, then the name, which is core, and then the location apps/core. Then we can just run the server again, so we have it running. Django doesn't know that we have created this app yet, so I can go back to Visual Studio Code, and inside settings.py we have a list of installed apps. Django comes with a few of these already, which I'm going to use later in this project. So here I can just say apps.core. So now Django knows that we are going to use this app. Perfect. And then I can set this to done and save. Inside the apps folder we now have the core folder, which comes with a few new files. Admin.py is where we register database models for here, so we can use them and add data to them and similar. Models.py is where we define what the data should look like for Django. Tests is for setting up tests. Views.py are a collection of views. Migrations is information about the database that the make migrations and migrate file no script uses. And then inside the core folder I want to create one folder called templates. Django knows that it should look for template files inside a folder called templates inside all of the apps. But inside the templates folder I want one more folder called core. So later in this project, when we have multiple apps, it's easier to separate the apps from each other. So in here I create one more called core, and in there I create a file called base.html. I want to use this base.html all over the project, so I'm going to make this very simple, and then the other templates can just extend on this. So the first thing we add here is the usual doctype.html, and then we add the HTML tag and a head. Whoops, like that. At the top I want the meta charset UTF-8. Below here I want the title for the project. Title. Here I can add the template tag, which is called block title, so we can inject data from the template to extend this into this. I will show you very soon when I create the template for the front page how this works. End block. And then just a minutos behind here. And then I also want to include Bulma, which is a CSS framework I love to use. CSS files, link URL, style sheet, type, text/CSS, href is HTTPS. I will add a link to this in the description below. cdn.deliver.net/npm/bulma at 0.9.1, which is the current version. CSS bulma.min.css. And then below the head I want to create the body. And at the top of the body I want a nav bar. Just want to add a comma to separate things a little bit. Nav bar and nav bar, nav class nav bar, and then I want a div class nav bar brand. This is where the logo or the name of the project will go. href can just go to slash class navbar link, no, navbar item, strong minutos, like that. I want to wrap this app inside, no, this navbar inside for later, so I just add div id navbar app. This is for vue.js later in the project. Close it like that. You can also add a menu to this navigation bar. So below here I said div class navbar menu, and I want some buttons to be located on the right side of the screen. Right? Yes. Div class navbar end. This is used to pull them to one side of the screen. href class navbar item plans, and then below this I want to add a div class navbar item. This is for the buttons. Div class buttons, and then I added two buttons in here. href, just go to hashtag for now, class button is success, strong sign up, ahref class button, and then log in. Don't have to add any class to that yet. Below the navbar I want the main section, and main div class, section class section. This will give some space over and below the content. And then I add a new block here, block content. This is where all the main content of the application will go, and block. And then at the bottom here I want the footer, and footer, we will soon see this in the browser. Footer class footer, div class columns is multi-line, div class column is 4, and then a title, h2 class subtitle minutos. And then next to this I want one more, div class column is 6, is offset 6 is 2. And in here I want a short list of some links. UL, like that, ally, ahref, contact. Just copy and paste 3 of these. Privacy policy, terms of service, and then below here one more div class column is 12, has text centered, p copyright c 2020. And everything there is closed now, so we can save this. So now I can set this task to done, and then we can continue and create the front page. The front page we will finally be able to see. So next to the base.html file, create one more file called frontpage.html. And to extend the base, it's easy, just add one more tag up here. Extends base, no, core/base.html. The core here is the name of the folder inside the templates app, and base.html is the file, of course. Block title, we want to inject some content up in there, and to do that I just add the block title here as well, and then I can say home, and pipe, space and block. And then I need one more for the content block, content. Just close it for now. And in here I want to add a simple header. Section class hero is medium, is light, and is bold. These are classes from Bulma that makes it really awesome. Div class hero body, div class container, just to make it a little bit narrow so don't fill out the whole screen. h1 class title, welcome to Minutos, and here we add h2 class subtitle, time tracking made simple, and save. And to see this template in the browser we need a view. A view renders the HTML for the user. So if I just go to views.py, and here I create one by saying def front page, and I need to pass in a request parameter, which is information about the browser, the user, and similar things. To render the template, we already have imported a shortcut here called render from Django. And to use it, we just say return render request, and then we pass in core/frontpage.html, and that's everything we need. Just want to add some comments here as well. Import functionality from Django and the views, like that. I can save that. And then the last thing we need to do to test this is to import this into the urls.py from apps.core.views import front page, and we append it here to the URL patterns. This can just be empty now since it's the front page where we don't have any paths. Pass in the view, and then we give it a name so we can reference it in different places around the app. So if I just go now to the front page, refresh, you will see the menu we added and the header and the footer. Perfect. So much of this codes come from base.html, but the header here and also the title here up comes from the front page.html. Okay, at the bottom here I want to add some more information about the features. So if I go back to front page.html, below this section I create a new div class container and a div class columns. Div class column is 8 and is offset 2, so you have it a little bit into the screen. Div class columns again in here, and is align items. These are classes for appending flexbox. MT6, which is margin top 6, so we get some space above these boxes. Div class column is for image. So on the image here, img src, add a static tag from Django, static images features track time.jpg, JPEG, sorry, and close it. To use static files, we need to add a tag up here called load static files. Sorry, it's just load static, like that. I will add a link to these pictures in the description below, so it's easy for you to find them. And next to this, I want the box div class column is 8, give it the class text, h2 class subtitle, simple time tracking, p time tracking made simple. Just add some dummy text here and save. Okay, so inside the root folder we create one more folder called static, And in here, we create one more folder called images, which is the folder we talk about here. Static is a function from Django that generates the path to this, so we can show it. Okay, so now I have the 4 pictures here I'm going to use during this project. So if I now go to the browser, you'll see that we don't see the pictures here, because we need to tell Django where to look for these files. You can do this very simple by going to settings.py, scrolling down to the bottom, and here with the static URL we can define static files dirs equals, so it's supposed to be a list, base dir slash static, save. I think everything is okay now. Refresh, and now we see the picture there. Perfect. So then I can go back here again and create a few more of these. Can copy this whole thing, paste it, and for the second one I can do this, so they are first left and right, then left again. You can change the text here if you want to, but I'm not going to use much time for that right now. And then last but not least, at the bottom here below this, I create one more div class columns is align items center empty 6. This is where I want the button. Div class column is 4 is offset 4 has text centered. These are also classes from Bulma that makes it easier to move around the content and similar. And in here I add a h2 class subtitle. Let's get started, and a href class button is success is large, get a free account, save, refresh. Whoops, that was not the point. I think this is supposed to go out one more, like that maybe. Yes, perfect. So we can't click any one of these, but yes, the front page is now finished. So now we can continue by adding the other pages, but I just want to go back here and set this to done. Then I can create a simple page for privacy policy and terms of agreements. Okay, so if I just go to this page again, the front page.html, I can copy this, create a new file in here, privacy.html, and block like that, privacy policy. Also, I can just copy this header because I'm going to use it in here. Sorry, like that. Privacy policy. Some random information, blah blah blah. Don't have to add anything more here for now. And to render this, we need a view again, so I can go back here. Def privacy request. Can copy this line, replace with privacy, and save. Then the next thing is to import it to the URLs. Then we can copy this line. We can append privacy there, replace front page with privacy, and give it the name of privacy as well. And then to link to this page, we can go to base.html, and here for the privacy policy, we add a new tag called URL, which will generate a route to this page by passing in privacy. And privacy there is the reference to this name. So if I now go back here, refresh, I can click privacy. Okay, there was something wrong because I probably added that. Yes, sorry. So now we have a simple privacy policy page. You need to add more legal boring information here. And we can do the same thing for the terms of service. terms.html, paste, terms of service, copy, there. Then we need a function again, or the view, terms, import it to the URLs, copy this, replace, and go to, sorry, base.html disappeared for me here, there, URL, terms, save, refresh. Now we can click this as well. Perfect. Then I can go to the to-do list and set this to done. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to my Patreons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link to my Patreon in the description below. And then the last thing to do is to go again here, copy this, need to create a plans page. Sorry, plans.html, replace the title with plans, Okay, so here we can replace this with find the most suitable plan for your team. Below this section I want to list out the different plans. I want 4 columns next to each other. Div class columns empty 6, so we get some space above these columns. Div class column is 3, so it's 25% width. Add a class, div class card, div class card content, div class media. Here we add the title, div class media content, p class title is 4, which is the size, free. Then we need to set the price. P class subtitle is $6.00, and then below this media, div class content. Here I want a list of the benefits you get from using this plan. Li 3 projects, and then below here we add one more list item with 1 member, and below there one with 10 tasks per project, and at the bottom here we can add the HR and a button to sign up. Class button is primary, get started. Then we can copy the whole column 4 times. Then we need to change the values here. For basic, this can cost $5 per month. We can change these numbers to 10, 15 members, and 30 tasks per project. And then the Pro, which costs $10. Here you can have 25 projects, 50 members, and 100 tasks. Need more. The price here is 0. No, just a question mark. Now you can replace this get started with contact us, and need more projects, need more members, and need more tasks. Then we need to create a view to render this. We can just copy this, plans, replace the template name, and import this to the URLs page. Copy, replace, and replace. And then we can go back to the base.html and scroll up to the top and add it to the plans here, URL plans, like that. If we go to the browser now, we can click plans and you can see the list here. Perfect. So then I can go back to the to-do list and set this to done. So now it's time to wrap up the series for this part. Thanks for following along, and I hope you liked it. If you did, please click like and share below. If you want to check out the source code for this project, you can find it on GitHub. I will add a link in the description. If you want notification when the next part is published, remember to subscribe and click the bell. See you next time.